Welcome back to our viewers to the Tobago Updates morning show. And we have our final guest in studio with us, economist Mr. Barry Joefield, and he is going to give us his thoughts on the T.H.A. 2026 budget review. Good morning, Mr. Joefield.
Morning, Mr. Holder.
Good morning. Good
Morning,
morning,
how are
sir.
you doing?
Well, thanks. It's a pleasure having you here this morning. So we're talking budget.
Sure.
All right. So we just spoke with Mr. Williams of the Chamber, and we also spoke with Mr. Sandy, representing the entertainment industry. And now we have you here as an economist. And of course, we want to get your opinion in terms of the presentation of the budget that was done yesterday in the House. So tell us your position on the budget, the high points, the low points, your assessment of the overall delivery.
My issue is and continues to be that Tobago is dependent on some percentage of funding from Trinidad. And therefore, for me, the weakness in the budget, it's very soft, almost silent on revenue generation. There is precious little on revenue generation, save, I think, for the latter part of the budget where she spoke about some investments in Pigeon Point, Studley Park, and I think it's Idicott.
Okay.
Again, I presented a budget. I heard no tourism figures. Where are we in terms of our tourism figures? Our arrivals, where are we with that? That is supposed to be our marquee industry. We heard absolutely nothing about where we're going with tourism, where it is at this point. And for me, and when you looked at the increase in GDP, I think she said it was there was a 4 point something percent increase, but that was in government. It's clear to me that there's no thought is being given to how Tobago can generate its own revenue. I'll give you one example. We had the mid-year budget review, which in my mind is a conjure on Tobago. Giving us less than 1% of the 3.1 billion budget, and then giving us a loan. And I had the opportunity to listen, I think it's to Mr. Hans Devines, talk about this loan story, which the Minister of Finance wanted us to believe was delayed by the Minister of Finance. And by what he had to say in Parliament, and I could only say based on what he said, it was the T.H.A. delaying, not knowing which coast areas they wanted to have this money affected. So it was the T.H.A. delaying, based on what Mr. Devines had to say in Parliament. And if he was wrong, I suspect they will take him to the Privileges Committee for saying things that were inaccurate. Okay, even if you get $100 million for coastal works, I'm saying you can. I have been proffering the idea about, I think you know where the Coast Guard base is.
Yes.
I'm sure you know where the bridge is in Lambo on the old road.
Yes.
So if you take $100 million, we have Studley Park corridor could give us the boulders to block the area and, save Scarborough Junior Secondary. And you can build a lot of booths going down on that side. And in other words, you can use the $100 million to invest in the area, remediating the area, and being able at the same time to build booths that would allow you to earn revenue to defray the cost of it. Yes? I'm saying there's no thought going into what we can do with the resources that come to Tobago. It's, again, I will give you just two quick examples before, I turn over to your questioning. I've proffered the idea of the old hospital being converted into we was looking at a global school of medicine. The hospital served Tobago, I think it might have had a population of 50,000 then. We could convert that into a global school of medicine, yes? And there are simple things like that we can do in the Tobago space. And under development, where we earn an income. No, I don't know what we do with development funding, but to me, it's not development funding in the sense of development. And lastly, I think you might remember you had an interview, I think 2 weeks ago with the Secretary of Finance. and she was talking about this whole issue of it's definitely there, but she was zeroing in on a 5.1%, and all of a sudden yesterday she's zeroing on a 5.6%. I'm not sure which one it is and why the shift has been made. Maybe it has been made because of the con job that was done in the media review. Because I'm totally disappointed about that arrangement. And the figures to me speak to a con job. You raise it to 134 so that it falls within the ambit of that 4.3 to 6.9%, to give the impression that Tobago is being supported in that way. And it's clear to me that 100, you cannot use the 100 million to do anything else but coastal works. How can that be money's allocated? The other 34 million, you can move it around. As you choose, the 100 million is fixed. Yes. You can only use it for the coastal works, and this is a loan. Who repays this loan? The T.H.A? That's my question.
So, Mr. Joefield, you mentioned that not much was said in the budget review concerning revenue generation.
Sure.
But the secretary would have mentioned the attempts within the tourism and agriculture industries to grow their GDP contributions. What are your thoughts on that?
Mentioning and there's no clarity in my mind. Okay, so I just gave you specific things. I'd give you a specific one in tourism. Now we have a school called the T.H.A. To me, it's very simple. You upgrade the T.H.A, yes. It could provide university degrees in hospitality and the arts, as the case may be. I'm saying there's specific things you look for that would suggest to me this, and she keeps talking about an investment, which is more expenditure. When you tell me about an investment, it means, or it implies to me, there's some return to be had on this investment. And all I'm hearing, and that's the problem, all I'm hearing is expenditure. We're going to expend on this, we're going to expend on that, we're going to expend on the other. I'm not hearing this expenditure on tourism is going to improve or increase arrivals by 5% or 10%. That's the kind of conversation we need to be having in Tobago, not this idea of spending money without understanding where this return is coming or what do we expect as a return. Do we really expect a return in here at all? Before I came here, again, I tried to send, which might have been a bit late, too late for the hearing. But if you look at Section 50 and 49 of the Tobago House of Assembly Act, it, in my mind, makes the T.H.A very lazy. Because if you look at that Section 50 and T.H.A earns above 6.9% in any year, and they own above 6.9% of what was allocated in that year, the Minister of Finance has the authority to take 50% of that amount. And in my mind, it makes the T.H.A lazy. You better stay between 4.3% and 6.9%. And the closer we get to that, the less likely we want to put any effort to go beyond 6.9% of the allocation. That's part of the section of the T.H.A Act. We must adjust it. In fact, that's one of the major things that we ought to be focusing on now, addressing that Tobago House of Assembly Act to remove barricades like that limit the potential, that limit the interest of the T.H.A to earn more revenues, increasingly so that we can be economically independent. All this talk in my mind about self-determination and autonomy is just old talk. Without money, it's old talk. And we need to be generating revenue. We need to be seeing some idea, okay, that we're going to replace 1% of what we receive from Trinidad every 5 years so that the next 20 years we don't need that kind of support. That's the kind of talk we need to be hearing, not this, I want 5% and I want 10%. If you continue to take a percentage, you will Tobago is supposed to be so self-sufficient that we're able to a loan Trinidad some money. Yes.
Mr. Joefield, the investment in the SMEs, don't you
Sure.
think that investment there is an opportunity for Tobago to increase its economics and reduce what you're talking about here in terms of give me 5.1% or give me 5.9%? Don't you think that investment will have a measure of return? And now I'm not saying the investment will bring return tomorrow morning or next week. It is a process. All of these things are processes that have to take place. And there's no specific timeline. While we could put a timeline that we could work towards, don't you think, because you're saying all you're hearing is investments in this, investment in that, and you're not seeing returns. You're seeing it as expenditure, but you're not seeing return. But it's an investment. Investments are supposed to yield returns. Is it that you're saying you're not seeing an opportunity for any returns on the investments?
All right, let me put it this way. If you analyze the small loans and grants that have been granted by the finance department, over 90% of them are non-performing. If you examine venture capital, maybe 100% is non-performing. The question, there are bigger issues than just providing money to the SMEs. What they need is, you need an incubator. You need a supportive system that you identify persons who are doing excellent work in the space, maybe through community or whatever. You provide the support, help them to do their business proposals, give them guidance on.
But isn't that what the investment is about? Because it's not that, because the secretary specifically spoke about the fact that, okay, we give grants and we give loans and we see businesses still not performing. And so now the investment is to provide the same support you're talking about, which is training in all different areas and all different aspects of their business to ensure that their business remain viable and sustainable. So is it the same thing you're talking about now is what the secretary presented? So I'm not sure if I'm with you on this topic.
So let me go again. All right. I would have had a little more intimate experience with venture capital. And I'm saying to you that if you look at that model, the model provided for technical support. Ask if any technical support was provided and whether or not, in fact, while the secretary is speaking now, any technical support is being provided to those persons who are part of that portfolio. Ask if any technical support is being provided to the 90% of non-performing loans in the small loans and grants program at this point. You already have a situation where you have expended resources. Well, then, in my mind, you try to analyze this thing first of all. In fact, what I'm telling you, I'm sure you did not know before. I'm saying there's no analysis of what the issues are, so that you can say to me what you're doing would address the issue. And I'm saying to you, my belief is that this is all, again, as I talked about conjob, and I meant that, this is all about giving the impression that some kind of, and she was there for quite a while. She was there under London. She said she was there under Joel Jack. She was there under Farley. So she must have known. I am on the outside. If I could know these things, she's there. She must know that there are issues going on in there that need to be addressed and how they need to be addressed. Why wouldn't they be addressed?
And isn't this the opportunity now to address it? Because you say what you are saying and what is happening is the same thing. You're saying that no support was given. So an assessment was made. This is why the businesses have not been sustainable. And this is why now the secretary is coming with, listen, the reason why the businesses were not being sustained or remaining viable is because there was no technical support. All we have been doing is throwing money to them. Let us now throw support, the technical support that they will need, which is what the SME program now is supposed to be doing. Lending the support in the different areas to ensure your business remains sustainable and viable. So what you are saying did not happen. Of course, an assessment was made. So if you can see it, those on the inside saw it, and this is what they're presenting now to ensure they provide a measure of support. Mr. Joefield, I really wish we had all the time this morning to continue this conversation, but we don't. We have to, we have to end the morning show here. And possibly, if at all possible, we can always bring you back to continue the conversation where this is concerned. But, we're happy for your contribution, your observation, observations, your assessments, and we want to continue. So at another time we will, once the producer, the time and the opportunity permits for us to continue this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Mr. Barry Joefield. He's an economist, and of course, speaking about the budget presentation in the House yesterday, his assessment in terms of what was presented to us, what could have happened, what should have happened, and where we should be in terms of how the allocation and the set of the economy, in fact, of Tobago, the possibilities that he finds are endless, that are not being explored at this point in time. Perhaps we'll bring him back another time to continue this conversation. And of course, we want you to continue to be a part as well. Remember, you can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and on our YouTube channel as well. Well, this is where we have to end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, which is Good Morning Tobago. So we do hope that you can stay with us. And as you stay, we invite you to help us. Share the live,
share the live, share the live.